Andover, Exeter, Choate, Lawrenceville, Hotchkiss, Deerfield, Loomis, Chaffee. What do all of these schools have in common? For most Black executive families, it's the belief that locking admission to one of these top boarding schools will optimize outcomes for college admissions down the line. The school has the teachers, the counselors, the network, the college placement. Surely this is going to lead to an Ivy League or a top college outcome. That thinking isn't wrong, but it's very incomplete. The mistake is assuming that access to these elite boarding schools will lead to individualized admission strategy that will guarantee the outcomes that you want to optimize for. It doesn't. These schools offer access, rigorous academics, talented teachers, access to facilities, alumni, travel, leadership programs, internships, and international opportunity. All of that matters, but access is not the same thing as direction. So if you want a grade-by-grade framework, go ahead and get my complimentary guide down below, the Ivy Readiness Roadmap for 6th to 10th graders. It will help you understand exactly what your child should be developing right now. Build that strategy before high school even starts, because a school can be extraordinarily good at educating hundreds of high-achieving students and still not be responsible for your child's inner operating system, her habits, her self-advocacy, her leadership development, her sense of purpose, her academic direction, her ability to be herself in a high-achieving, predominantly white environment, and most importantly, the coherence that allows all of these opportunities to compound in real time. The school experience can easily become a collection of impressive opportunities without ever becoming a strategy. We don't just let our money sit in a bank account and hope that it appreciates or works for us. We have to implement a strategy that is data-driven and relevant to our goals, our future, and our present. And if you wouldn't do that with your money, why would we do that for our kids? Your child enters that elite boarding school. The school gives them a rich environment. They have classes, clubs, sports, faculty advisors, dorm life, summer opportunities, service programs, maybe even an exclusive scholar program. The school is now encouraging your student to explore, apply for this, apply for that. It feels a lot like the Ivy League, with thousands of opportunities before our students, like a buffet of enrichment. Then later in high school, the questions begin. Surely with all these opportunities and all of this exploration, you, student, now have clarity about what you want to do next. So the application asks, what is your story? What makes you distinctive? What are you passionate about? What does all of this enrichment that you have now done at this elite boarding school all added up to? In other words, the old way allows the experience to organically unfold and then seeks to package it later. Exploration is important. Students need room to grow. They need room to try new things. But here is the critical issue. Exploration without reflection leads to noise. Student can be very busy every single day. They can have excellent grades, several clubs, research with an Ivy League professor. They can attend prestigious programs like I did, the Harvard Summer Program, parents investing another $10,000 because surely having Harvard on the application is going to make our kid look even more impressive. They hold a title and the resume is looking robust. And here's the thing, there can still be no through line. It is scattered potential. It is busyness that we hope translates into meaning. But if we pull back the curtain to all those pretty resume lines, there's a resounding silence to the most critical questions. What do you care about deeply? What kind of leader are you becoming? What problems do you want to solve? What are you building toward? And how does your unique cultural identity shape your lens of the world? And by junior year, your student's going to get that support at that elite boarding school with their college counselor to try to make all that meaning, to try to put everything together, to try to find the through line. And what we see time and time again is that this method breeds performance culture. This method breeds students trying to force meaning out of things that they did. Meaningful activity does not mean that the activity was meaningful to the student. Simply because an institution or a program has a clear mission for what they are doing does not mean that the student has internalized that mission as it aligns to their core values, who they are, who they want to be and become. The student has been doing these activities and now they're forced to look back and create meaning. And so out of the need to be and look impressive, now we are trying to create a story that isn't really there. In their core being, when no one else is around, they are having lots of question marks about how all the opportunities their parents gave them is actually translated to meaning. And I know that because I was that girl. I was flooded with depression and anxiety because I felt this constant need to perform. As Black families, we have to not simply optimize for the admission, because that admissions letter is one step of a 4-year journey. And if I could go back to my 12-year-old self, my 13-year-old self, more importantly, go back to my parents during that time and give them advice, it would have been what I'm about to give to you. Yes, I did a lot of things right, but there was also a lot of fluff and excess on my journey that, if cut away, would have led to a more robust and meaningful profile. Elite admissions outcome can still be secured when we're doing less. Achievement is important, but it truly is about helping our students build evidence that is a reflection of who they are. And that starts with understanding that we cannot wait to package in junior and senior year. We have to work backwards, help our students scaffold what needs to be true and real intrinsically, so that every activity they engage in has real meaning that they are attributing to it. They have to attribute the meaning. It cannot be the school. It cannot be parents. The student has to attribute meaning, because that is how you're going to get a very real and authentic through line. Building intentionally asks, what are we doing and why? And this is where many parents get confused. They hear college counseling office. They see all of the Ivy Leagues on the elite boarding school's website. They hear close relationships with admissions officers, and they assume. There is a difference between correlation and causation. So, because these institutions are correlating all of these facts and all of this data, we assume there's causation, whether we say that out loud or not. And so we're spending thousands of dollars in tuition because we are assuming causation. We are assuming that the institution is going to help our students build a multi-year profile that will actually lead to the admissions outcomes we want, not realizing that when we register our students for these elite institutions, our students are now competing with the students at those institutions for the limited placements at the elite college. College counseling, no matter how good it is designed, is not going to help your student build an intentional developmental framework starting in middle school, going all the way into high school, connecting that to their college outcomes, to their career, and the person that they want to be in the marketplace. They are going to allow your student to eat from this buffet and then take an inventory of what they ate in that buffet, and they're going to try to help your student find something real and meaningful. As we also look at the mental health crisis, what is increasingly true is that with that buffet, our students feel even more pressure to eat more. We have become gluttons for high achievement. It is leading to depression and anxiety in our students. And so the question here is not only about, is this going to guarantee an outcome, but is this going to guarantee an outcome that is sustainable and healthy for my child? Is this going to guarantee an outcome that's going to allow my student to actually make the most of their college experience? Is it going to allow them to be people who actually are able to embrace presence or who are obsessed with performing? Is it going to allow my student to really clarify the career that has meaning and makes me money, or just go into the career that makes me money because I want to make my parents happy? We don't realize that when we operate from the old way, we're buying into a value system that a lot of us don't really agree with. The new way is to stop asking the school to be everything. Use the school for what it does well, but build your child's foundational identity early, before the pressure of high school performance comes forth. These are some key questions you want to be asking. Can they manage their time? Can they organize themselves without your management? Can they recover from disappointment? Do they define themselves by their grades? Are they getting A's because they see themselves as smart and committed to a process when it's hard, or because they're just inherently gifted and everything comes easy to them? Same transcript, same GPA, different operating system. Can they ask for help? Do they know how to identify what help they need so they can ask for it? I can't tell you how many students, Black students, especially Black women at Princeton, we are at one of the top schools in the world, and yet we are too afraid to email our teachers. I saw it every day. Can your student distinguish between what they want and what other people want? No admission strategy can compensate for a student that does not know themselves, a student who cannot regulate themselves. It will not replace or hide a student that does not know how to prioritize, follow through, and self-advocate. The new way invites you to build a strategic roadmap, and that's why I want you to get our complimentary guide that walks you through year by year what you should be scaffolding and focusing on. If your kid is in 6th, 7th, or 8th grade, I have a playlist here that will literally map out what you should be doing in each year. So go ahead and click on that playlist now, and I'll see you over there.